welcome to podcast 50, the big 50. It's crazy. We've done this 50 times.
Probably more because the first few times it didn't work right.
And 49 of the times I've been wrong on the number. So there's that. We're finally back in the podcast studio tonight with Casey, and thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
This is an exciting time. We're 15 days into August, and September is closing in really fast.
It's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's exciting. We got we'll probably do a giveaway with this podcast. Jesse's going to work something up. I don't know what you got in mind, but
Yeah, we'll throw some sponsor stuff in, broadheads, trail camera too. We'll see. I'll see what I can pull together.
yeah. So like, comment, share, hop on one leg.
Yep. Yeah, we'll I'll put something out, post it on the social media stuff, and this will be the big one to get to this one and share the podcast.
Trying to grow. So ever changing, but we're doing it. All right, we're gonna hop right into kind of the September,
Pre-September, yeah.
pre-September, kind of what you're gonna do and how you're doing it, and how your plans, and you're heading out west here shortly.
Yeah, not too long. Yeah, so honestly, this is the first year I haven't been like jumping on the gun to get trail cameras out. I just kind of been lazy on that. Just trying to work on getting in shape, get all my gear ready. I'll be hitting the last 2 weeks of September. I figure with the last year of Colorado going to over-the-counter, everybody and their dog is going to be jumping on the first 2 weeks. So I'm going to try to bypass that and go towards the end, and hopefully catch a bull. They leave me one anyway, so yeah, that's the plan. So I'm looking forward to it.
So Colorado,
That's right. Yep.
you got a any sex tag, and
Yep.
nice. That'll be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, been practicing all summer, and I think I'm ready.
So when it, I guess, what leads up to this, e-scouting, boots on the ground at all, or you just kind of know where you want to go?
It's just historic knowledge. I'll do a little e-scouting just to see if there's new pockets or something, new ridge lines that I haven't checked out before. But I'll basically go off of just historic knowledge. I've been out there. I've elk hunted for 6 years now. I got a bull last year in Wyoming, and then 4 years ago, I think, is when I got my first bull in Colorado. So the first few years were a learning curve, but yeah, like I said, once you figure out thermals and kind of how the elk move, you're kind of prone to go back into those areas and just kind of rely on that knowledge, and I think that'll help me out in the long run. So
Okay, so go back to like the prep to us flatlanders who have never been hunting out west. Could we go out there and be successful in the mountains? I mean, you got to be in shape. You see these guys like Cameron Haynes that are carrying 2 people on their back.
yeah, well, so this year is kind of the first year I've actually like taken my fitness into account. I'm getting older, so some things they don't work quite like they used to, or don't recover like they used to. But I'm starting with just a 60-pound pack. I go anywhere from 2 to 5 miles a night. That just gives me kind of a baseline, a foundation to kind of build off of. I mean, granted, when you get to the mountains, thin air and stuff, like it changes a lot, but at least you have that foundation to build off of. So that's how I start. Yeah, I mean, then you mix in with your shooting and everything. Like, it's good to have all of that. Don't let one area weaken, and you got to keep going. But yeah, so that's kind of that's what I'm focused on right now. And then just getting my gear piled up and kind of altering things, switching things out. I upgraded a little bit of my gear, made it a little bit lighter. Just so to answer your question, yeah, flatlanders and stuff, yeah, you could be successful. I guess I would focus on a lot of the YouTube videos, just kind of look, the calling cadence and the sequences and focus on that. And then the biggest learning curve, I think, for someone from, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Illinois is thermals. Thermals are, it took me a few years to figure out that, and it was so confusing because you can hear the elk, you can see the elk, but how do you approach the elk? That was my biggest learning curve, and I think, if you focus at 9:30 to 10 is when they start shifting up and then towards the evening it starts shifting down, and then you got to take the prevailing winds into account. It's just a lot of factors that you got to be focused on.
Okay. That's interesting. I think us flatlanders, so I go out to Colorado to see my parents quite a bit on vacation up in the mountains. Sure. And I didn't realize the thin air is a real thing. Like there was several nights we were up in, what was it, Grand Lake, Granby, Colorado. Mm-hmm. And there's several nights where I woke up and I was trying to catch my breath. Like I thought something was wrong just because that air is so thin up there in the lack. They sell oxygen like in a bottle at gas stations or grocery stores.
I didn't know that.
So I don't know if that's to help catch your breath, but it's a real thing.
Yeah, so my first bull I killed him at 11.2, and that's up there. That's pretty good. And they say that for full acclimation, it's like 30 days.
Yep.
But I would say after like day 2, day 3, like I can get my lungs under me, I can get my legs under me, and I feel pretty good. I've never had that altitude sickness or anything like that.
Man,
so.
I was freaking out.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, yeah. I can't imagine trying to pack out a bull and not be used to it.
Yeah, right.
Have to go miles.
Well, so my first bull, I got him 8 to 9 miles back, so it was 28 miles consecutive that night. It was from 4:30 p.m. till 6 a.m. the next day, nonstop. It was the worst night of my life. Like, it was awful, and I was not ready for it.
Excuse me.
So
let's say you get a bull and you're way back in there.
Yep.
You hike it all the way back to your vehicle, and then you gotta. Notice like sometimes when we go out there in September, October, whatever, there's guys with like deep freezes in the back of their trucks. Yeah. Do you do that and run extension cord?
I don't. I like to run and gun, if you will. So I have just my pickup set up with a fold-up topper. It's kind of a soft topper that folds up. I can sleep in there if I get into an area and it's late and I don't want to set up a base camp. I'll just, camp under there. I've slept under the pickup before. But no, I don't do that. I have some resources as far as there's walk-in coolers. They have a pretty good, reasonable fee that you can go store stuff in. But basically what I do is it just happened to have rained that night. I was quartering him out, dropped to 18 degrees. I was soaked to the bone. It's freezing cold out, so it kept the meat cold. And so the biggest task was getting it off the mountain and to the trailhead. And once we did that, just chop it up, get it in coolers, and then get dry ice on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a pretty big cooler. It's like I don't know what it is. It's huge. So.
Just in case we're one of those last minute guys that get to go, you got a cooler big enough?
We can get it. We can get something figured out.
Yeah, 5 or 6 smaller coolers.
Yeah, mine's like the size of this table. It's a monster.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's big. It fits a whole bowl in it, though. So.
Wow. We just line the bed of the truck with a tarp.
Yeah,
go get a bunch of ice
and throw it in.
Yep, drive back with just bloody water, just draining out the back. And
the reason I said that, there's a chance that I think if you wouldn't have came over tonight, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. But there's a chance that Jesse and I might get to go elk hunting over the counter. I got a text into my dad. We'll see. He's gonna talk to his buddy, but I got some private land out there. It's not a lot of acres, but who knows?
Yep.
The year to do it.
Yep, last year for over the counter.
A lot of meat.
Even if it's just a cow, it would be cool to go shoot with the bow.
Absolutely. The biggest thing your first year is just learn how they move, learn the mountain, learn
the problem is we're so diehard into whitetails. You give us this little bit, and you love to turkey hunt, and right. I hear a lot about it's kind of like hunting turkeys, but a lot better. We get stuck on elk. We selling our farms and going out west every year. Who knows?
I swore I'd never do it after that hunt, and I've been ever since. Every year I try to go out.
Yeah.
Saving points for Wyoming, Montana, New Mexico. I've been trying. New Mexico doesn't have a point system. It's just a
lottery, right?
Pool.
Yeah, and that's one of the, I'm such and I think you kind of are too, an instant gratification person. Like, if we're doing all this, I want the tag now. I don't want to. I can't imagine putting in for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years.
And that's becoming the minimum.
Right. And then not being able to go to that. Like, there's no guarantee I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning. So to think like 10 years in advance I'm going to go elk hunting in 10 years.
So you're a guy that will pay the money and go somewhere.
I would pay an outfitter, pay the outfitting fee, and do it once. Sure. I drop $10,000, go with an outfitter, buy one of their tags, and go over buying points for a tenth of the price for 10 years.
And I would say my recommendation is if you have the means, I would do that versus go the 5 or 6 years that I did before I killed my first one, because I mean the money equates to about the
Right,
same.
yeah.
It evens out.
And
so.
that's in my head. Like I hear horror stories, guys like Dom's has went out and he's like, yeah, saw 27 different hunters today and 0 elk.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, I would leave after one day because that would be the most frustrating
It is
thing
it
in the
is.
world, and it wouldn't be fun at that point. There would be zero fun in it, and it would just be ungodly awful to put up with. And that's just me personally.
Well, I would say it's the same as whitetail. I mean, if you're hunting public land, that's all you've got. Like if you're willing to outwork everybody else, you can find the pockets, you can find these elk, and like it is very frustrating because you see 20 horse trailers.
Yeah.
And you're on foot.
Yeah.
So it's like
There's thousands of acres, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
national forests.
yeah,
There's
Yeah, so you can do it. And like same thing with the deer. There's people that kill giant deer on public land every single year. But at the same time, I put in my work on the other end of it and knock on the doors and get that private or work my ass off and buy a farm. So,
Well, and I would say the biggest like give and take to going with the outfitter is if you were going to continue to hunt multiple states and do the draw system and stuff, at least I can fall back on some of the previous knowledge that I've gained
Right.
versus an outfitter where they've done the knowledge. They
know what's going on.
They
know
already
what's
did
going
it.
on. So I mean that's kind of a give and take. But I'm with you. If you can afford it, get your feet wet doing that. That's my deal.
right.
who knows? It might happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
it'd be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be fun
We'll
to go
see.
and do it. So you're doing elk in Colorado
Correct. Yep.
and then mule deer?
Mule deer in Nebraska. I'll go back home. I'm originally from north central Nebraska. I've had a ranch for the last 8 years that I've just been really close to the family. Lost the landowner a year ago, unfortunately, but been close with the family ever since. So, yes, I'm still invited out, so I'm looking forward to that. And then Nevada after that. So,
All archery.
all archery.
Nice.
Yeah.
So with the mule deer, is that spot and stalk?
That's it. Yeah, that's primarily all I do. I've, antelope, mule deer. It's all spot and stock.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, mule deer's a blast. But I mean, it's getting harder. These bigger bucks, like in Nebraska, they just, I don't know, numbers are down, the density's down. It's tough to find a good muley buck anymore out that way.
Well, they just opened up a cat season too, didn't they?
did, yeah.
And I got a buddy that I go turkey hunting with on the eastern side.
Sure.
And one of his buddies filmed one where you can't shoot them.
Right.
And had one come in underneath the trail while we was bow hunting for deer, and I'm like, oh man.
If it was Iowa.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. That's my number one bucket list is to kill a mountain lion with a bow. That's always been my number one.
Well, that's fingers crossed. Come December, that'll be checked off the list. So we'll see.
And is it how you wait, get a phone call and
Yeah,
go?
so that's I talked with the outfitter a little bit about like how that all works, and basically he said if you can get a spot in early, meaning late November, early December, you have a good chance of killing a big mature tom. And what they do is they look for weather fronts. When they get one within the 10-day forecast, they'll notify me, say, hey, we got a front moving in. And then 5 days before the front's going to hit, they're like, all right, it's going to hit. Get your plane ticket lined up. And then, boom, it's go time.
That's cool. They got
5 days.
dogs and everything.
Yeah, balls to the wall.
That's fun.
And it's, from what I hear, it's rough country out there. I believe it's northeast Nevada. So,
Cool.
yeah.
I hope your fall is plentiful with big game, and
Yeah.
who knows, we might be joining you in Colorado.
Yeah.
That'd be exciting for you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, that'd be great.
If that did happen, we're gonna have a lot of questions for you. If it,
I'm right a phone call away.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yep.
One of them unexpected things, and
it's only 15 days away.
Oh, you only live once. So.
That's right. Yeah. Go out on a whim, and who knows?
Yeah.
how far of a drive is it?
About 14, 12. Oh, I don't know where you're
Yeah.
at, but for me,
Yeah. Yeah, well, my parents are in Littleton, so it's about 12, 13
Did
hours.
you drive out? Do you drive out there? Or usually fly.
No, we've done both. We've done the railroad. That sucked. Would not recommend that. We've drove out. I drove my sister out. Jen and I drove out once. Drove my sister out once because they moved out there too. And then we flew out the last like 2 or 3 times. So
Yeah, flights wouldn't be horrible, but then if
then you can't
shoot
get
something, you
the
can't get anything back.
yeah it would.
Oh, yeah.
Or just hey, my dad's coming back soon. I'll just leave this at his place and he can bring it
I'm
back.
saying, just find a walk-in cooler, just freeze it all and bring it back. That's one way to do it. You can get one of those Coleman's, Walmart, pack it full of ice. So.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
We'll see. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it's just a wishful thinking. But
yeah, that'd be like I said, it'd be fun. Be a little bit more exciting than shooting doves.
yeah, yes, yes.
That's what September 1st usually brings for us is trying to shoot a bunch of doves.
So your whitetail season in Iowa is kind of just
I'm kind of like lackadaisical when it comes to that. Probably why I don't shoot monsters, but I don't get too excited in October unless I have a good one that's at a food source. But all of my property right now is standing corn. I do like hunting standing corn, so I'll pop in the stands when it cools off a little bit. I'll do that, but I mean October 25th on is kind of when I really get fired up because I've killed the last 4 bucks on Halloween. So
Oh, really?
that's yeah.
okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Random thought. If it does work out, do you have any elk calls that we could borrow?
Yeah, I probably do. I've got a whole stash of stuff. So.
Do you know how to elk call?
I'd figure it out.
I would say if you
YouTube
can
it.
use a turkey diaphragm,
Right.
It's just a sucking in or
Yeah, I'd literally just go and buy some and
Yeah.
try them out and
well, and they have like the hoochie mama, like it's just
Yeah,
a,
the
just
push
a
button.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
press, and it's just I mean I would recommend not doing that because everybody and their dog that can afford that they use it and the elk know it, so it all has the same.
What's your favorite elk call or like your situation scenario with their cows and you're trying to pull them off?
Yeah, so I've just had kind of a weird experience with elk hunting. I haven't had them scream in your face or anything like that. I've called bulls in. They always find the tree to stand behind. They always block the shot. But honestly, my first bull, called to him. He got up out of his bed, started herding his cows, and started moving them down the ridge. And I just happened to hear and know the last place that I thought they were, slipped over the crest of the ridge, and he was right there at 40 yards and smoked him there. And then Wyoming, I had watched the elk move across this mountain ridge and saw that they were using the saddle. And so towards evening, I knew that they were going to cut back into to drop down to the lower ground. So I cut them off at the saddle, and I shot my bull on the saddle. So really calling, if I could spot and stalk them, that's my game. Like I grew up doing it with antelope and mule deer. I've killed a lot of whitetail spot and stalk. So yeah, that's my preferred method. I would say for you guys, you can bugle, you can do the locator call, but cow calling, just that subtle cow calling, I think that's going to be like the most productive.
just a couple little yelps.
Yeah.
And
Let them know you're there and just
And if my dad's right on what he told me, where we're going or where potentially I could go, it's small. It's like just over 50 acres, and it's in the right 50 acres. So if no one else is hunting that other stuff or can't, then those bulls, they might come charging in.
Like these Easterns, less is more when calling. So
Yeah.
just like think of that, keep that in your mind. But yeah, I would just do some subtle elk calls.
And,
I don't do cow calls.
So they start their pre-rut. Are they now? Like when's the elk starting to?
And disclaimer, I'm not a experienced elk hunter by any means, but I've been out there enough. I would say that the bulls are, some of the bigger bulls are going to stay in that backcountry till the first couple weeks of September. Then it really starts firing up, and I would say like it bleeds into October even is when I've had a lot of bugles. But I would say like right now, some of the younger bulls are finding these cow groups, and like they're starting to,
are they hardhorn right now? Yet?
I would say no.
Not quite?
I would say no. It'd be
Close.
Because it seems like they're ahead of our whitetails.
I would say so. I guess, yeah, I don't know. I don't have much experience with when they shut out, but I would imagine it's like our first week of September for whitetail. So it's got to be within the week or two.
Yeah.
So.
So then their testosterone starting to
I would
rise
say
and
they're hardhorn. Yeah, would
Yeah.
say so. Yeah. But any listeners out there, if you know, go ahead and comment.
Yeah, throw us a comment.
Somebody
If you
that
guys are
lives
diehard
Somebody
elk
that lives
hunters.
out there that does it all the time. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah, that'd be great because I don't honestly know. So
Well, that's cool that you're going out. I
yeah,
hope you shoot a big one. And
I hope so too. That'd be great.
Be fun. That's
thinking
all
of all
Greg's,
I'm thinking of all the possibilities.
I'm just saying,
that's all Greg's
when
thinking
you're-
about now.
When you're in Colorado, unless you just know you're in a like a wasp's nest of them, and you can like kind of pick and choose. I mean, the first bull that comes in that has 4 points or is legal.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take him because I've passed opportunities and it's like, well, I'm never getting that back.
Yeah.
again,
So it's got to have 4. This is how much I don't know. It's got to have 4 points.
4 points or at least a 6-inch brow tine or something like that. I'd have to look back in the regulations.
All right.
I've always looked for 4 points or better.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'll have to read the rules and regulations if it happens, but it's still the idea is.
Plenty of reading time on the driver.
You're right.
Right?
Can you YouTube that?
Yeah, we can
Well,
figure
I think
this
you gotta
out.
be conscious of and that's the thing is like for guys out here going west is knowing like some of the regulations on like quartering meat and transporting meat. Some states you have to take all the rib meat. Some states you have to take as much as you can or wanted waste and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. You got to be conscious of that. And then some have proof of sex. You have to leave a testicle or proof of sex on the quarter. Those are things
Okay.
to
Interesting.
you keep in mind.
Well, I mean, like a lot of things, like with birds, in different states, like you have
Keep
to
the wing.
keep the wing attached to the breast, so they can tell it's like a male pheasant and
Sure.
stuff like that.
Sure.
So I've seen different places for that also.
Just something to be conscious of. I mean, you get all excited, you go out there and you just,
Yeah, and we don't know. That's the thing. You have to read up on it.
And it is your own fault for not
it
knowing.
is, absolutely. it is.
So in Colorado, do you know this? If you shoot in Iowa, if you shoot a deer and it runs on the neighbors, you have the right to.
You don't there.
There you don't.
No.
Can you?
Nor Nebraska, nor Kansas, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't retrieve your game.
Not without permission.
You gotta ask.
Man, that makes
And good luck casting
That's-
out there.
that just seems so wrong. Like you're gonna. Some people are like, oh hey, now I'm just gonna spine shoot him because I can't go. He's right by the fence. He's gonna jump the fence, run away.
There's one property, a former Miami Dolphin owns the ground, lets a local kind of manage and run the ground, and I mean he lives in Florida, of course, or whatever, but just owns the ground there. And the manager of the property, I just asked, can I walk through the corner of your property? I want to go to public. He's like, nope. He goes, even if you shoot a bull and it comes over and dies, you visibly see it. He goes, I'm not allowed to let anybody go retrieve it. Like you have to just let it go. And
It
it's
seems
a
so wrong and
You gotta
unethical.
think of it too. There's people that neglect that permission or that So it's just like I mean I get it, but it's a shame, especially when it's just right there and you go ask. But
Yeah, it's crazy that people would be like that. I remember shooting a doe when I lived in Iowa City, late season with my bow, shot this deer, hit it good, saw it ran 20 yards, jumped the fence, one of the neighbors, 1.5 feet of snow. Watched the blood go, and I'm like, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I actually shot it. I was walking out.
Okay.
And it was milling around. It was just a doe. I shot it, jumped one of the neighbors, went, like, I'm going to go run, grab breakfast, and I'll come back. Left my bow at the truck, jumped the fence, followed the blood, get down there. There's four-wheeler tracks. There's a gut pile and a drag mark right to the guy's driveway.
Oh, you're kidding.
And he drove it right in his garage. And I went and knocked on the door, and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
really,
Yep.
wow.
Just a doe. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Well, of course, I'm 20,
Yeah.
21, something like that. I'm like, felt like I was wrong.
Right, right,
For
yeah.
like I was in the wrong somehow. So it just blows my mind. And,
You
know,
filled
I've
that
heard-
guy's freezer.
Right. And I've heard stories of landowners not liking other neighbors and knowing that they shot a deer, and they're like, no, you cannot go on my
Just
ground.
to be right.
And
yeah,
like rightfully, I don't think there's a legality where you can't allow somebody to go retrieve their game. I think you can
In Iowa?
in Iowa.
Yeah, you can say, get off my property, and then come back with the game warden and square it out. Hey, here's the blood. All right, lead me to the deer.
Right, but
they can kick you off.
Right, but they have to, if you came back with a warrant
Oh, yeah,
or
or
a cop or whatever,
yeah.
they would have to allow you to retrieve your game.
As long as there's a blood trail.
Right. Yep, as long as you can prove, I mean, you could probably have video if you shot it and watched it rain and it jumped the fence. Well,
Yep.
here it is. It jumped the fence right here. It didn't bleed for 10 more yards.
Yep.
You know, like guns, a lot of muzzleloaders, they don't bleed right away and stuff like that. So you could run into those issues, but
Not our muzzleloaders.
no, my deer have always ran, but there's
a lot of blood.
There's those smokeless muzzleloaders.
Oh yeah.
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 Yep.
I've muzzleloadered once. And I shot one buck, and that was all right, but no blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were years of shooting deer and not. I mean, it's like trickle.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep, shooting the old
My black powder.
black powder.
Yep. Hey, that deer had no blood.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and going back, circling back to that, crossing property and stuff. Growing up in Nebraska, you have to ask permission regardless. You can't just go across someone's property boundary. So I make it good practice that I still call the landowner and still, just peace of mind, because if I shot a deer on the one property and you have the other, like, you may have managed it, your scent and everything, and then some goes traipsing through. It's just that respect thing that I think we could owe the landowners. So I've always made it a practice of just calling and saying, hey, like, even though I'm allowed to, I just, consideration of
Yep.
you and what your practice is.
Being respectful.
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
just kinda
and that's
personal.
a lot of people aren't respectful hunters and just kind of do, like, a lot of times when I call someone and, hey, you let me hunt last year or whatever, it's like, I appreciate you calling me every year. Like, that's very nice. People just go through there, do what they want. But
You don't know what if
yeah.
it was open
Yeah.
because you were doing it right.
Yep.
Yep.
And one landowner I called and I told him, hey, can I go hunting this year? Oh yeah, thanks for calling. I'm actually trying to move something on the truck. I'm like, I'll be right over. I'll come help you. Like, you can call me. I live right down the road. And he's like a 75-year-old man. If you need something heavy, I'll do it.
Yeah. It's not hard to be a decent person.
Right.
It just isn't. So.
Yep.
You do something for them, they do something for you.
That's right. That's right.
Yep. Usually that goes a lot farther than most things. So
Yeah, no doubt.
they would rather have that than somebody rolling up with a checkbook or a pocket
Yeah.
full of cash
agreed.
to hunt.
Absolutely.
Yep. Sweat equity can turn the door knocking into something great.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, we're gonna end it on that.
Sure.
Podcast 50.
Podcast 50. We'll get some details on all the giveaway stuff, and
We'll post in the comments and
Yep.
description.
we'll let everybody know what's going on with it and how they can get entered to win. So
And if you're heading out west this year, write in the comments where you're going, and maybe that'll get you another entry into the.
yeah, there you go. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.